What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. I want to talk about how, in this day of information, a lot of black folks are waking up, right? A lot of black folks are waking up and they're using different vehicles as their medium to talk about or to take action on, their newfound consciousness, right? But the problem we're having is that a lot of us are falling for placebo organizations, and we are defending these placebo organizations against each other, and we're fighting each other in-house when we really should be fighting the enemy that's outside of the house. Okay? For example, you have the Hebrew Israelites, okay? The Hebrew Israelites is nothing but another construct of Christianity. All right. They'd like to say that they are the Jews and all these things. Now, they're not too far-fetched completely, but their information is based off the Bible, a book. Okay. Now, the Bible is a book of allegories. It's a story. It's not literal. It's never meant to be literal. And if people just did a little studying and knew about history, you would know when that book was created, why it was created, by who it was created from, who it was created to control, and what other scripts it was copied from. Okay, so before we start creating these opinions that we start to run our life with, we have to understand that opinions usually are created after a foundation of fact and truth is discovered, and that's the base. And then after that, you formulate your opinion off of it. But if your base and your foundation is false or placebo, everything that you say after that is suspect and is rocky. Okay? We got the Hebrew Israelites. Then we got these people, these Ados people, African descendants of slaves. First of all, to me as African, I would never want to have the word slave in my title of my people. Now, these are people who are very black people who are somewhat, some of them, not all of them, are bitter at Africans because they believe Africans sold them into slavery. And because of that, Africans who are in America should separate themselves and be their own tribe. Now, this is their opinion. They've come up, but the base of their argument is false. What they don't understand is how we were, AKA, technically sold, or what they're talking about. What they don't realize is they are themselves the sellers and the sellees. Okay, like for instance, a lot of the Yoruba tribe. The Yoruba tribe used to fight the Doromai, the people of the Benin. Okay, so the Yoruba tribe used to go on slave raids. They would go on slave raids and they would capture these Doromai, these warriors that were made more aware after Black Panther came out, and we saw those black queens fighting, in the movie being represented, those black warriors being represented. But that's a movie. Okay, in real life, these women, these warriors who were just as vicious and just as badass as any warrior woman ever in history, they also did slave raids on Yorubas as get back. Okay, you would fight a war, you would capture your enemy, and then you would sell that enemy to a third party for resources to continue to fight wars. So that did happen. Okay, it wasn't slavery as in, chattel slavery. We didn't know anything about that. There was no such thing as jails back then, so you got to keep everything in context. Everybody captured war slaves and enslaved them, but it was a different system. It wasn't the same thing. We had no idea that the European was going to do these things, but it happened. Okay, and it was all being manipulated by the European at the time. Okay, so there was no campaign, there was no mass campaign of African kingdoms gathering their citizens together to sell them off to the Europeans for riches and gold. That didn't happen. It was just war. People were at war, conflict for different reasons, and the Europeans took advantage of it. Same thing happened in America. Native Americans, they would have wars with different tribes, and things would happen, and then they would sell off or purchase and trade. They're captives for guns and technology that they've never seen before. I mean, who wouldn't do that, right? So you got Edos who are basing their whole philosophy off of a lie because they're not doing any research at all. And they're come across as hating Africans, right? So then you got Africans in Africa who literally do not know any of the history of the chattel slavery in North America and Central and South America. So they base their opinions off of what the European has told them, the rosy picture that the European has told them, or the limited information they have that they were told by the same European that oppressed them and enslaved us. This is the information we're getting from them. So there are some Africans who do not like African Americans because they think we're overblowing this, or that we're still have a victim mentality. They don't understand the struggles that we have over here, right? But at the same time, there's African Americans who don't understand the struggle that Africans have. They don't understand why we were being enslaved. They were also being oppressed, subject to some of the same cruel torture and rape and murder and all that, right? So that did happen, So all these, and then you got these black folks who say, I'm an Indian, I'm a Native American. Now, yes, in some cases, there are some African Americans who did marry some Indians. It did happen. That is true. But for the most part, most black people in America who say that they have Indian in their family really have just white in their family. And they're ashamed of it because their great-great-grandparents got raped, because that's what's the common thing. Raped. We got raped a lot over here. That was the name of the game. Europeans rape. They love our women, so they raped them. They also love our men, and the men raped them too. All right. So we all got raped over here, and we just like to say, oh, we got Indian in our family. Well, because we don't want to say we got white in our family. All right. But that's just what it is. Okay. So we have all these. Then we have the Islamic groups, and we have the Nation of Islam, and everybody has their own, little group club. And they all want to fight the same enemy, which is the oppressor. But instead of just fighting the enemy as a united front with different battalions of people, okay? And understand what I'm saying, different battalions, okay? I'm saying that because I'm not here to convince a Muslim, to African-American Muslim or anybody, to drop their Asian religion, to pick up an African spirituality system. I'm not going to tell you what religion to be. Now, you can be part of any club you want, but whose side are you on? Why do we waste time fighting each other off stuff that doesn't matter? That's not important. Who cares if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Yoruba, if you're a Hausa, if you're ADOS, who cares? Now some of the ADOS, to be fair, they do say that, hey, we built America, so we deserve it. We need to stay. Yes, you're right. We have built America. And the reality is, even though America does belong to the Native Americans, there's not enough of them to take over. They've been defeated. That's just a fact. But there's enough of us, and we built what you see this modern day country. There's enough of us here. We should keep this. Just like in Black Panther, what they say, the sun would never set on Wakanda. Guess what? The sun don't have to set on Africa, ever. Okay? The sun used to never set on the UK. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we? Why can't we have America? Why can't we have America, all the Caribbean islands, and Africa? And we'll take the UK too. Why not? And I'm not talking about taking it as in let's go kill everybody else. What I'm saying is we can be powerhouses everywhere. We can be the influencers. We already are the influencers everywhere. We're just not benefiting from that influence. Okay, we're not benefiting economically to that influence, and we need to start benefiting economically from what we're giving to the world. So the sun doesn't have to set on us. We can have it all. This is our plan. I mean, we were created, and we created everybody else. God, whoever you worship, created us first. Then we created everybody else. That's a fact. You can like it or not. It's just true. Right? So we need to stop. If you're not going to tolerate, if you want to be like an atheist, if you're an atheist and you don't agree with Christianity, Islam, or whatever, if you're Egypt, if you like what this new like an Egyptian religion, they're like recreating or whatnot. If you're into that, that's okay. That's fine. As long as you understand that these are all allegories and these are all spiritual systems built to have you have a moral guideline throughout life. That's okay. If you utilize religion for what it's meant to be, an allegory and a help guide, then that's fine. You can be it any one you want. But understand that in the real world, after we're done fluffing our minds and getting our spirits together, we need to fight in this real world with real things, and we need to unite together. There should be no space between the Nation of Islam. There should be no space between the Nation of Islam, other traditional black Muslims, other black organizations, militias, atheist groups, Christian groups, Egyptian New Age Egyptian religion groups, pure African spirituality groups, ADOS, people who want to. There's no name for us people who want to go back home. You know, the black folks who want to repatriate, repatriating Africans. You know, all of us we can do our own thing. We got our own battalions, but we need to work together because we make a division. You understand? The division is the black folks. You got battalions. You got several battalions within the division. We can be a division. All right. And we all have our jobs. We all have our roles, but we need to work together and understand that at the end of the day, we all black, bliggity, black. We all African. And that's the thing that needs to unite us. And we need to be okay with our differences in our different systems of living, our different systems of work. We should be okay with that. Because if we have been asking for hundreds of years for the European to just leave us alone and let us do our thing, you know, and we've been asking and we've been wanting them to embrace diversity, we also need to embrace diversity within our own groups. We need to embrace those diversities and not try to convince others to change their ways to be like us before we work with them to defeat the common enemy. Because the common enemy doesn't care if you're a black Muslim, a black Jew, a black atheist, a black spiritual. They don't care. You're black. You're an African. Therefore, you are the enemy. Period. And I'm talking about certain white. Not all white people are enemy. Okay, just the ones, you know who I'm talking about. The racist ones. There's a lot of them out there, and their goal is to continue to oppress us and use our resources for the benefit of their communities. Understand that. That's the only reason. It's all about the economy. All right. So we have to stick together. I'm seeing some guy on YouTube now. He's an ADOS, and I guess he decided he wants to talk trash about, or he does not agree. He wants to talk trash about Dynasty Mir. Right. So now Dynasty Mir has to take time. We don't have to do anything. But he has to take time out of him helping other African people to address this guy over here who, instead of talking about the oppressor and what they're doing and how we can work together, he wants to take shots at Dynasty Mir. I don't know what it is. I don't know why he would do that. What has Dynasty Mir done to him? Nothing. But he decided he want to fight in-house. And if we continue to do things like that, then we're always going to lose. Okay, I'm also starting to see other people within this community of wokeness fighting each other because people don't agree with each other's ideology or what they're doing. You don't have to agree. We don't have to agree on everything. You know, like we don't. It's not necessary for us to move forward to agree on everything. And as soon as we get rid of that purist mentality, and we all start just acknowledging the difference, celebrating the difference, finding the commonality, and using that commonality as the focus point to fight together against institutionalized oppression of our people globally. That's what we need to do. Africa has never, ever been a one monolithic, unified group of people ever. And it's never going to be a one monolithic, unified group of people ever. It's never going to be that way. But we can be a diverse group of Africans that unite under a common goal of prosperity of all of our peoples, religions, sects, and organizations to live peacefully with each other and through economic power thrive and help other black people thrive and to create militaries powerful enough to fight off those who would try to harm us as a unified African front. And then we can just enjoy our differences and celebrate them. So that's all I wanted to say, everybody. We need to stick together, and we need to get over this purist mentality. That's all I got to say for now, guys. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something and teach something. I'm out.